Hey, this is Don the Idea Guy from dontheideaguy.com. It is Thursday, October 6th, and here's what's running through my mind as we record another podcast that's broadcast from the parking lot. I believe this is episode 18. And here's what's running through my mind today. Yesterday I recorded the episode just like I do normally in the morning, but I had meetings and a hectic day immediately after, and I did not get around to actually posting the episode and making it live until late in the afternoon. And what was interesting is a friend of mine, Jason, who I'd mentioned in a previous episode about creating his shipping podcast, had posted a comment after the social media post announcing the new episode. He said, I wondered if we were going to see an episode today. And I thought that was great because I wondered if anybody was going to even notice if I didn't post the episode at all, let alone posted it late. And that kind of had me thinking, one, that's probably about the best compliment somebody could get in terms of their content, right? Is I wondered if there was going to be more. They were waiting to see if it was there. How cool is that? And I kind of had this little scratching at the back of my brain, reminding me that a couple of authors that I liked had written articles on this very topic. I know Seth Godin has written a few, and I will find the links and add them to the show notes. You'll have to go to the webpage, dontheideaguy.com/mind, M-I-N-D, like running through my, to get the show notes, because I'll paste them in after the fact. Your podcatcher software is not going to be able to download the notes because I'm going to have to update the links after they're live. And then another one was, and I think Godin's written at least two or three times on this topic. And then another was by a guy who did a series of articles that didn't just ask the audience, hey, will they miss your brand if you're gone? They actually did a case study of, here's a brand. Would Starbucks be missed if it was gone? Would McDonald's be missed if it was gone? Would Nike be missed if it was gone? And I gotta believe there were 5 to 10 of those at least, and I really enjoyed reading those. And I'm drawing a blank on the author right now. I want to say it was Johnny Moore, but I'm not sure, so I'm recording it so that I took a guess, and this way if I'm right I can go, yes, I knew it. But I will post links to those articles if I can still find them online. The internet, nothing ever dies on the internet, so I'm sure I can find it. But they were really interesting because there were case studies of, McDonald's is a brand that the national conscience is aware of. When we were kids, we grew up with it. They innovated a lot of, fast food meals and practices and processes. But would we miss them if they were gone? We all know it's not good for us. It doesn't matter what somebody says or how quick or economical it feels. It's crap food, right? I mean, nobody recommends it as part of your daily diet. But would we miss them as a brand if they were gone? And I thought that was a great question. And they did it with a number of different brands. I remember Starbucks. I remember McDonald's. I can't think of some of the other ones. I think one of them was Nike, but I'm going to be interested in reviewing those as well. So I'm happy that that was brought back to my mind. But how about you? Would they miss you if you were gone tomorrow? If you didn't show up for work tomorrow, how long would it be before somebody noticed that what you do at the office isn't getting done? What about your freelance stuff that you do, your side hustles? Would your clients notice if you were gone? If your service wasn't available anymore, would they just shrug their shoulders and move on? Or would they be tracking you down, going, where have you been, man? I need you. Today, Jason Zook, who did the Buy My Future campaign, which just ended the other day, also hosts a podcast that I highly recommend called the Action Army Podcast. And that's normally a weekly show, and I really enjoy it. And sometimes an episode gets posted late, and I miss it. That is something I look forward to. And today he published a new episode that's 6 minutes long that says he's taking a break. And during his 6 minutes of saying, well, here's why I'm taking a break, and I'll be back in a couple of weeks, in my head, I'm going, here's something I'll miss, because that's like a kickstart for me. I can listen to that podcast on my way to the office, and it sparks ideas and it sparks actions. And I love the concepts he shares, and I try to apply them. And that's going to be a podcast I miss. If it went away, if he didn't come back, I would miss it. I'm going to miss it for the couple weeks that it's not there. In the meantime, though, he recommended a couple other podcasts that if you enjoyed his Action Army podcast, you could supplement your listening while he was away. There was going to be a gap in your listening schedule that you could try these shows instead. So if you're going to go away, suggest some alternatives to people. If you're going to go on vacation, somebody has to pick up your slack while you're gone. So I thought that was kind of a good thing to do. I was hoping he was going to recommend some that we should check out while he was gone, and he did. So it goes to show you, he's in the minds of his listeners. Except Jason said, hey, it's my show. I can take a break when I want. And he's right. It's his show. He's the host. He can do what he wants. If I decided I wasn't going to do this daily, I was going to do it weekly. That's up to me. I can do that. But there is a perception, I think, on the other side of the podcast with any audience that it's their show too. They're listeners. If we didn't like the things Jason said in his podcast, we wouldn't listen. I'm hoping to find an audience who appreciates and can use the ideas I'm sharing, and I want this show to be for them. It's my show, but it's for them. The content I produce, I want it to be helpful and useful to you, the person who's listening. Otherwise, I am just talking to myself, and I don't need to post it live. I can just record it and listen to it whenever I want. So I don't think that you can underestimate the ownership people will feel about content they enjoy. I think that there are any number of stories about TV shows that were canceled, and that's a studio decision, right? The network decides they're not going to run a show, or the studio decides they're not going to pay to produce this show anymore. And on more than one occasion, and at least 3 come to mind, the audience has rallied and gotten studios to go, okay, we're going to bring it back. Now, in some cases, that rescinding that decision to cancel was rewarded because the viewership was there. And in some cases, it wasn't. They brought it back and it still had horrible ratings and people still weren't watching it, and it got canceled again. So the audience doesn't always know, right? There's the great quote about if Henry Ford had asked people what they wanted, they would have said faster horses, right? And I made one up about Edison, saying if Edison had asked people what they wanted, they would have said brighter candles. So the audience doesn't always know best, but they know what they like. And would they miss your show? Would they miss your content if you stop producing it? Would they find a suitable alternative? Would they create something themselves to take your place? What can you put out there that would be missed? When people edit their writing, they take out the words that don't need to be there, the extraneous information, the superfluous words that do not need to be in the text and won't be missed by the readers. But what if you dropped whole chapters? What if it was a mystery and you left out the entire last chapter where you find out who did it? They'd certainly miss that if it was gone. So every day when you do your work, when you publish your content, when you put your product and ideas out into the world, you're walking that fine line between what do you keep in that people will want and respect and would miss if it wasn't there, and what you eliminate that's just distracting people and wasting their time. And can you make those decisions? And will the people tell you when they feel something is lacking, or will they just go away? And then you'll miss your audience when they're gone. That's it for today. That's all that's running through my mind. If you need more information from me, visit dontheideaguide.com. Don't forget to visit the podcast landing page. It's up on Spreaker. I've got a direct link to that if you just go donideaguide.com/mind, M-I-D, like running through my mind. That'll take you directly to the Spreaker landing page, and that's where we get all the show notes and the extra links. Even whenever the normal shows go live, I tend to go back in and think of 2 or 3 extra links I could have added in. It's tough to do from the phone app. It's a lot easier to do it after the show's live. So, unfortunately, that does not get sent along with the show notes that go to your podcast download software. It doesn't update those things. So you're always better off visiting the landing page for anything extra. And that is dontheideaguide.com/mind. And I'll be back tomorrow, Friday, for the last episode of this week. Have a great day.